My friends, take a moment. Imagine a quiet room in the evening. A small map lies open on a wooden table. The paper is soft at the edges, and a cup of warm tea gives off a gentle smell. Imagine a tiny needle inside a round case. It moves a little, then rests. It points one way again and again. Imagine rain tapping on a window. Outside, the road is dark, but inside, one small tool gives a traveler a sense of direction. Imagine a sailor standing on a ship. The sea is wide. The sky is gray. There are no street signs on the water. Have you ever stopped to wonder how people found their way before phones and maps in our pockets? Where did the compass come from? Why is it everywhere, from boats to hiking bags? How did it change travel? Can you imagine crossing the sea without knowing where north is? Have you ever held a compass and felt that quiet little needle seem almost alive? Here is the early twist, my friends. For much of human history, the compass was not a simple travel tool like today. It began as a strange and wonderful sign from nature, a quiet meeting between stone, metal, and the earth. Today, we will travel across time and across places in simple, clear English. Our first stop is long ago, in a world without electric lights, without engines, and without easy travel. People walked over land. They followed rivers. They watched mountains. At night, they looked up at the stars. Imagine a cold night on an open road. The fire is low. The sky is full of small white points. A traveler looks up and tries to remember which star means north. This was useful, but it was not easy. Clouds could hide the stars. Rain could hide the sun. Forests could hide the shape of the land. A traveler could feel small very quickly. Say it with me. Which way is north? People needed signs. They needed something they could carry. They needed a tool that did not sleep when the sky was dark. Records suggest that early roots of the compass began in ancient China. We do not have every detail, but many accounts describe a special stone. This stone could pull small pieces of iron. It also seemed to have a strange direction of its own. This stone is often called Lodestone. That means a natural magnetic stone. In simple words, it is a stone that can attract iron. Imagine finding such a stone on the ground. It looks simple. It does not shine like gold. It does not smell like spice. But when it meets iron, something happens. Can you imagine the first person who noticed it? Maybe they touched it to a small metal piece. Maybe the metal moved. Maybe their eyes grew wide. A problem appeared, but it was a good problem. What was this power? Why did the stone pull metal? Could it help people in daily life? Could it show direction? At first, this was not only about travel. Some people used direction for buildings, land, and special life choices. They cared about where things faced. They believed direction had meaning. The change came when people began to test the stone more carefully. They saw that a piece of magnetic material could turn toward one direction. It did not need a voice. It did not need a candle. It simply moved. The result was small but very important. A natural stone became more than a stone. It became a guide. But how do you turn a guiding stone into a tool for travel? Now let us stay in that early world for one more chapter. We are in a busy place with makers, thinkers, and traders. There are bowls, water, wood, metal, smoke, and hands at work. Imagine a small object placed on smooth water. It turns slowly. People watch it in silence. The room is still, except for the soft sound of water moving. The problem was simple. A stone alone was not enough. It was heavy. It was not easy to read. It could not always sit in a useful way. People needed a clearer form, so they experimented. They shaped magnetic material. They placed it on something that could move easily. Some accounts describe early forms using floating pieces or special shapes. The main idea was clear. Let the magnetic part turn freely. This was a quiet change. No loud bell rang. No one shouted, "The world is different now." But the world was beginning to shift. Repeat after me, a small tool can guide. The result was a better way to find direction. The tool was still simple. It was still not perfect, but it gave people a steady sign when other signs were missing. My friends, think about that for a moment. A small floating piece could help a person understand a wide world. That is almost funny in a gentle way. The earth is huge, and the guide is tiny. But there was another problem. Land travel was hard, yes, yet sea travel was even harder. So our next stop is the shore. The air tastes of salt. Birds call above the waves. Boats rest near the water, waiting for wind. Imagine sailors preparing for a journey. They carry food, they tie ropes, they look at the sky. The sea is beautiful, but it does not promise safety. On land, you can follow a road or a river. On the sea, the road moves under you. Waves rise and fall. The wind changes. The sun can disappear behind clouds. Have you ever looked at the ocean and felt that it has no beginning and no end? How can a person find a path on moving water? What happens when night comes? What happens when fog covers everything? For sailors, direction was not a small question. It was food, water, family, trade, and return. It was the difference between arriving and being lost. The early compass idea began to travel from special knowledge toward practical use. Practical means useful in real life. It had to work on boats. It had to help tired people in bad weather. The change was slow. People tested, copied, improved, and carried the idea. Traders and travelers helped knowledge spread from place to place. When useful things travel, they often find new hands. Try this phrase: it helped people travel. And this is where the compass begins to feel less like a wonder in a room and more like a friend on a journey. Still, one question waits for us, my friends. When the compass reached the sea, how did it change the lives of sailors, explorers, and the world beyond the shore? Now let us travel to the sea, my friends. The shore is behind us. The land becomes a thin line. The ship moves forward and the water opens in every direction. Imagine a wooden deck under your feet. It is wet with sea spray. Ropes pull and sing in the wind. A sailor holds a small direction tool and watches it carefully. In this chapter, the problem is fear and distance. A ship can carry people far, but the farther it goes, the harder it is to know the way. The sea gives fish, trade, and stories, but it also hides the path. Before better direction tools, sailors used the sun, the stars, the wind, and the shape of coastlines. These signs were useful, but they could fail. Clouds could cover the sky. Storms could push a ship away from the known road. Can you imagine a captain looking at gray clouds for many days? Can you imagine trying to find a small island in a very large sea? Can you imagine telling the crew, "I think this is the way," but not feeling sure? The compass did not solve every problem. It did not show distance. It did not show rocks under the water. It did not stop storms, but it gave one steady piece of information: direction. Say it with me: keep going north. That small piece of information was powerful. It helped sailors stay on a course. A course means the direction a ship follows. In simple words, it is the way the ship tries to go. This was a turning point. The compass moved from wonder to working tool. It was no longer only something to study. It became something to hold during a real journey. The result was not instant magic. Sailing was still dangerous. Ships were still slow. People still made mistakes. But now they had a guide that worked when the sky was hidden. And when sailors have a better guide, what happens next? They go farther. In the next chapter, we move along trade routes. Goods travel. Ideas travel. Words travel too. A tool made in one place does not stay there forever. Imagine a market near a busy port. You hear many languages. You smell spices, fish, wood smoke, and wet rope. A trader opens a box, and inside are tools, cloth, and small surprises from far away. The problem here was distance between cultures. A good idea could be born in one place, but it needed roads, ships, and people to move. Knowledge did not jump across the world in one day, so people carried it. Sailors talked to other sailors. Traders watched what worked. Makers copied useful designs. Some details changed as the compass moved through different hands and places. Records suggest that compass knowledge spread across parts of Asia, the Middle East, and Europe over time. The exact path is not always clear. History often comes to us like an old map with a few missing corners, but the change is clear. More people began to understand magnetic direction. More people began to use tools that pointed the way. The compass became part of the wider story of travel and trade. Repeat after me. Ideas can travel too. The result was a world with stronger connections. Ships could plan longer routes. Travelers could trust direction more often. Trade could grow. Stories could move with the goods. My friends, this is a beautiful part of history. One small idea crosses water, mountains, and languages. It changes shape, but it keeps its main gift. But there was still a problem. Early compasses were not always easy to use on a moving ship. Water shakes, wood moves, hands get cold. A tool must be simple when life is hard, so now let us step into a workshop. It may be in a port town where sailors come and go. Outside, gulls cry. Inside, a maker bends over metal and wood. Imagine a table covered with small parts. There is a needle. There is a bowl or case. There are marks for direction. The maker works slowly, because small mistakes matter. The problem was reading direction clearly. A sailor needed to see not only north, but also other directions. East, south, west, and the spaces between them were important too. The tool needed to speak in a clear visual language. The change came through design. A magnetized needle could be placed with a card or face that showed directions. This is often called a compass card. That means a flat part with direction marks on it. Imagine turning from a floating piece in water to a stronger, clearer tool in a case. Imagine the sailor checking it again and again. Imagine the needle finding its place while the ship rises and falls. This made the compass easier to use. It could be carried. It could be protected. It could become part of a ship's normal equipment. Can you imagine putting a wet bowl of water on a ship in a storm and saying, "Please stay calm"? The bowl might say nothing, but it would probably not listen. That is our gentle laugh for this journey. Tools must fit real life. A good idea needs a good body. The result was a compass that looked more like the one many people know today. A needle, a marked face, a case, and a steady purpose. Try this phrase, it points the way. Now the story grows larger. With better compasses, sailors could move with more confidence across open water. Open water means water far from land. There are no trees, no buildings, no familiar hills. This brings us to another turning point. Sea travel changed from staying close to known shores toward longer journeys across wider waters. The compass helped people take greater risks. Of course, my friends, we must speak carefully. Exploration was not only brave adventure, it also brought pain, unfair power, and deep changes for many people. But in this warm story, we can still understand the tool itself. The compass helped people move farther than before. It helped ships search for trade routes. It helped sailors return after long trips. It helped maps become better, because travelers could record directions more carefully. Imagine a map maker waiting in a town. A sailor returns and tells what he saw. The map maker listens, draws, asks questions, and adds new lines. How did the coast bend? Where did the wind change? Which direction did the ship follow? What did the compass show? Slowly, maps and compasses worked together. The map showed places. The compass showed direction. One without the other was useful. Together, they were stronger. But one more question is waiting. If the compass helped people cross seas and draw maps, how did it become part of modern daily life, from hiking paths to phones in our hands? Now let us travel forward, my friends. The old wooden ships begin to fade behind us. The sea is still wide, but the world is changing. Ports grow bigger. Roads grow longer. Machines begin to move people faster than feet and sails. Imagine a harbor in the morning. Smoke rises from ships. Workers call to each other. Boxes are lifted. Ropes are pulled. And the compass is still there, quiet and useful. The problem in this new world was scale. Scale means size. In simple words, journeys became bigger, faster, and more connected. People needed direction not only for one boat but for many ships, roads, armies, trains, and later airplanes. The compass changed with this world. Makers built stronger cases. Sailors placed compasses in safer spots on ships. Travelers carried smaller ones in bags and pockets. The old idea stayed the same, but the shape became easier to use. The result was a tool that could leave the ship and walk with ordinary people. It helped walkers in forests. It helped people cross open land. It helped guides, builders, mapmakers, and students. Repeat after me. I know the direction. In the next chapter, we step onto a forest path. The air smells of leaves and earth. Sunlight falls through the trees in soft lines. A person stops, opens a map, and takes out a small compass. Imagine the path behind you and the path ahead of you. One looks safe, one looks strange. The trees do not have street names. The wind does not give clear advice. The problem is easy to understand. Nature is beautiful, but it can confuse us. A hill looks different from the other side. A path can turn without warning. A quiet walk can become a long puzzle. The compass gives a simple answer. It does not say this is the best road. It does not say there is a sandwich shop in 5 minutes. It only points, but sometimes that is enough. Try this phrase. Stay on the path. With a map, the compass becomes stronger. The map tells you where places are. The compass helps you face the right way. Together, they let you move with more confidence. My friends, this is one of the kind lessons of the compass. It does not walk for you. It does not carry your bag. It simply helps you choose your next step. Have you ever needed only one clear sign? Have you ever felt lost? And then one small fact made everything calmer. That is the quiet power of direction. Now let us travel to the modern world. We hear car engines, train doors, bicycle bells, and phone sounds. The compass is still here, but sometimes it hides inside other things. Imagine holding a phone on a busy street. The screen shows a map. A blue dot moves as you move. You turn left, and the map turns too. Inside many modern devices, there are small sensors. A sensor is a part that can notice something in simple words. It helps a machine feel or measure the world. One kind of sensor can help find direction. It is not the same as an old needle in a round case, but it follows the same deep idea. The Earth has a magnetic field. That means there is an invisible force around our planet that can guide magnetic things. Can you see it? No. Can you smell it? No. Can you put it in your pocket like bread? Sadly. No, but your compass can respond to it. This is a full circle moment. Long ago, people noticed a natural magnetic stone. Today, modern tools still listen to the Earth's magnetism in new ways. The form changed, but the basic wonder remains. Say it with me. The Earth can guide, the result is everywhere. Direction helps ships, planes, hikers, drivers, and phones. It helps people who study land and people who build roads. It helps children learn north, south, east, and west. But there is still a gentle warning in our story. A compass is helpful, but it is not perfect. Metal nearby can disturb it. Some places can affect it. A phone can lose signal or show mistakes. Good travelers still look around, think, and check more than one sign. In simple words, tools help us, but we must use our minds too. Now our journey comes to a quiet final chapter. We return to an everyday place, maybe your room, your bag, or a small shop where travel things hang on the wall. Imagine a compass in your hand. It feels light. The needle moves, then rests. It does not hurry. It does not shout. It only keeps pointing. Where did it come from? It came from people watching nature. Why is it everywhere? Because direction is a human need. How did it change? It moved from stone to needle to ship tool to pocket guide to hidden helper inside modern devices. And what did it give us? It gave travelers a way to move through uncertainty. It gave sailors more confidence on dark water. It gave mapmakers better stories to draw. It gave ordinary people a small guide in a big world. My friends, the compass also teaches a simple English sentence that is useful in life. Repeat after me. Find your way. Maybe that is why this little tool still feels special. It is not only about north, it is about the feeling of not being completely lost. The next time you see a compass, take a moment. Think of old ships under gray skies. Think of markets near the sea. Think of quiet makers, careful sailors, forest walkers, and modern phones glowing in our hands. A tiny needle helped people cross wide places. A small tool helped people feel brave enough to begin. And maybe, when your own day feels like a map with too many lines, you can smile and remember the compass. It may not find your keys, make your tea, or choose your lunch, but it can still whisper one useful thing. This way, my friend, this way.